Hi, my new Canaan Society friends. My name is Hermie Smit, and I'm a Disciple Making Movements coach with City Team here in San Jose. I'm with my friend Lynn, and we just had a wonderful lunch here at Specialties, and we just want to share this halftime message with you. I want to recap real quick. The previous session we got together, we talked about prayer,
Right.
and really looking at Jesus, following his model. And clearly, when we looked at those passages, Jesus really valued prayer, not just as an activity, but really spending that quality time with his Father, and a dependence on the Father, dependence on that time. So he carved out times, spent time by himself, sometimes with his disciples, praying, sometimes the whole night. We also see that as he sent out his team in Luke 10, we also saw that really it starts by praying. Pray to the Lord of the harvest. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. So really pray for workers. Pray that God will raise up workers. And so we challenge you to really set some reminders to really start praying regularly for Silicon Valley, for workers to be sent out and also to be raised up. And this morning my alarm went off. I happened to be driving, and it was just a great reminder to just pray for our area. And that God will connect those people he's drawing, because I believe he's drawing thousands and thousands of people closer to him. But we need to play a part in that God will connect those people with us, and that we would just be sensitive to what he's doing. You've been doing this for a while also, really being intentional. And God has used you, Lynn, in the marketplace. Why don't you share a little bit that journey for you, especially how you become so intentional about making disciples?
Sure. Yeah, I think early on, when I first made a commitment to Christ, I was reading the same passages of Scripture, right? The fields are white with harvest, but the laborers are few. Yeah. Jesus says, go and make disciples of all nations. I remember reading in Isaiah early on where he says, here I am, Lord, use me. Yeah. And that was my heartbeat, that was my cry, that was my attitude before the Lord. And before I knew it, he was bringing people into my life, just speaking a word of encouragement, if they were a believer, speaking a verse of Scripture, but just being available. You know, our greatest ability is our availability for Christ, right? And our attitude. And I think that he can use us in any situation. You know, Jesus says, go make disciples of all nations. Well, where do we go? Yeah. Right? And how do we do it? Right? And he's basically telling us, just bloom where you're planted. You know, I planted you. This is your field, right? And just be available to people. Just be open to their needs. Just be open to talking to them. You know, you don't have to speak chapter and verse. You can encourage them in ways by talking about biblical principles. But God is saying, if you would just be available, if you would just have a heart for people, I'll use you, and watch and see what I do.
Wow, thank you for sharing that, Lynn. And I'm excited. I'm excited for what God's going to use, especially the new Canaan Society and the men that's there. Just like Lynn, and when we make ourselves available and we start to just let God use us, and we start blooming when we are planted. So 7 o'clock this Friday, looking forward to continuing on. We're going to look at the Discovery Bible Group process, how we can show someone to start to hear and learn directly from the Father without, and really let God teach them. So I'm looking forward to our time together. God bless you.